All right, welcome everyone. This is the newest edition of Woodinville Chamber Monthly Entrepreneur Liftoff webinar. I'd like to introduce you to what this webinar is all about and tell you what we're going to do over the next 60 minutes. We have a couple of great guests that we're going to speak with and introduce you to um, the Woodinville Chamber and see if this is something that would make sense for you to join as a member. All right, so I have only a few slides. I'd like to get through those pretty quickly and turn those off, and we just have a conversation. And let's get the ball going. So, as I said, this is a webinar brought to you in partnership by Woodinville Chamber and myself, Danny Chirku. I'm a chamber member as well, and I'm a high performance coach. What I do is I help business owners and entrepreneurs perform at higher levels that they have not been able to achieve before. I've been very happy in my involvement with the chamber, and this is just one of the creative ways that we kind of created together so that we can help other entrepreneurs. And it goes to show you how unique this chamber is because the leadership team there, and you're going to be able to hear from Kimberly herself, the marketing director, how open-minded they are for anything that would benefit the local entrepreneurship community. So we've got a very few ground rules. I'd like to go over those. Well, before then, I just wanted to kind of tell you about the agenda. First 10 minutes, we're going to do a little bit of intro. And then we're going to be talking to a chamber member who is working currently at a nonprofit organization. Her name is Amy Effinger. And Amy is the sponsorship officer at Eastside Academy. And then we will be having an interview with Brandon Besmore. Brandon is the CEO of Audion, and he's got a cool and interesting story there. So we'll get to that, but first, wanted to tell you that there are mainly two intentions we have for this webinar: to connect and empower entrepreneurs and small business owners in the Seattle Eastside area, and to share applied knowledge of proven success habits in order to inspire immediate action towards growth despite all existing limitations. And the reason why we're saying two important things in there: applied knowledge, meaning not some theoretical things that people do, but actually ideas and tips that you can turn around and apply into your business today, and help you get into action immediately. Whether you're facing a challenge with your business, whether you're trying to acquire more customers, whether you're trying to increase your revenue, whatever it is that you're after, the answer might be in this webinar. So 4 tips to get the most out of this webinar. First, just try and eliminate any possible distractions. Put your phone away, close the door, let people know that you're going to be busy for the next 60 minutes, just so you can get the most out of this. And then most importantly, I actually have a journal and a pen, because I'm going to be taking down any tips or ideas that I get from the speakers themselves. So I highly recommend doing the same. And then decide right now what you want to get out of this, right? I know it sounds a little bit weird, but if you have something specific you're trying to solve, a puzzle that you've been thinking about in your head, a challenge, a problem, whatever it is, I'd like you to come with the intention of listening for the answer, because who knows, you might just hear it. And then I really believe repetition is the mother of all learning. So yes, you're going to listen in, but if you miss something, or if you wanted to kind of come back and listen in again, to write something down, it's going to be on YouTube channel for the chamber, so we will post it within 48 hours, and you'll have access to that. 3 rules. Please do not unmute yourself unless requested. Aside from the speakers, please leave your video off. And then if you have a question, you feel free to put it in the chat box, and I will take a look occasionally and make sure that I'm answering those questions as we go. Great. Okay, so if you have feedback, please send it directly to me. My email is danny@chirku.com. Typically, there are 2 questions I'd love to answer, or I'd love for you to answer. What did we do well, and what can we do differently? Cool. All right, so let's stop the sharing. And why don't we have Kimberly? Kimberly, could you come on with turn on your video?
Maybe.
Yeah. Here we go. So I hear you, but we still don't see your picture. There we go.
Oh.
There we go.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Danny.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, thank you. So
I am here today to tell everybody a little bit about the Woodinville Chamber. And gosh, I just can't share enough great things. First and foremost, a huge thank you to Danny for hosting these monthly webinars. They have been so much fun for us to get to reach out to our members in a different way, connect with our membership community and guests in a new way, something that Danny came up with and we don't think a lot of chambers are doing. So this has been a lot of fun. Our YouTube channel is getting a ton of hits and views after the fact. So it's very cool for us to be kind of a forward thinking in that way. We also are looking forward to the months ahead where we'll be launching something new with Danny. So everybody stay tuned for that. As far as our Woodinville Chamber goes, we are a vibrant organization. We are about 315 members now. And that is a business, anything from a sole proprietor, a small company, 5 to 10, to a large organization, the Woodinville Costco, Chateau Saint Michel, and everything in between. And our chamber, our mission is to promote, strengthen, and represent business. So anything that we can do to help our member businesses and business in Woodinville to succeed, that's what we're here to do. So we do that a number of different ways. We host networking events every single week. We're a very busy and vibrant chamber, like I said at the beginning. We do the events at different times of day, whether they be breakfast, lunch, or after hours. We realize that different times work for different business owners and attendees. So certainly check out woodinvillechamber.org and our chamber events calendar. On top of that, we provide our members with a number of ways to get involved and market their business through our website, through social media, through newsletters and blogs. We want to help reach the greater Woodinville community, and we think that we've really tried to tailor our membership to each member's business in that way. And then political advocacy, that's a big piece. So our executive director tries to attend as many city council meetings as possible and really speak on behalf of business to make sure that our business needs are being met and addressed in front of city council. So really, we hope that as many businesses in the region can join us. Kirkland, Bothell, Redmond, Bellevue, we call all of that Greater Woodinville. And we hope that those businesses can join us and become a part of our organization, because the more businesses there are that are a part of us, the more businesses that there are for our members to network with and do business with. It's such a
awesome.
tight community. So thank you for letting me chat with you. I'm excited to hear from Amy and Brandon today.
Thank you, Kimberly. All right, so that's a perfect segue to introduce our first guest, which is Amy Effinger. Amy is an investments and partnership officer at Eastside Academy, which is a nonprofit. Amy moved to Seattle area almost 3 years ago and joined the development team at Eastside Academy about a couple of years ago. Amy's originally from New York State and earned a bachelor's degree in marketing from Syracuse University in 2002. She has worked at firms in Boston and Chicago that concentrate on investment management, proprietary trading, and private equity. The nonprofit sector has always had a special place in Amy's heart and life. Some of her volunteer work and board positions were with hospitals, charter schools, and organizations that support economic literacy and stability for kids as well as moms. So, Amy, if you don't mind, put your video on and unmute yourself. Let's have a chat. I hear keyboard clicks.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It looks like I'm having trouble with the video.
So there is, so the button at the bottom left, does it show stop video or start video?
It shows start video, but it's telling me it's failed to start. I have to select another video camera in setting.
Okay, well, no worries. So why don't you try this? Try to log off the call and log back in and try and do that. So we can wait a couple minutes. No worries.
Okay, I apologize. I'll try.
That's okay. That's okay. This is where I would play elevator music for you guys, but I don't have that ready. So we're just gonna hang tight. All right.
How's that?
Yay, you got it.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. See, technical difficulties don't happen in practice. They only happen live.
Well, hopefully it gave the listeners a chance to forget about the year that I graduated, because I realized I in my bio stating the year that I graduated from college. So I think I should remove that from the bio part.
It's all good. It's all good. We don't judge. Great. Well, Amy, welcome. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and about Eastside Academy for those that don't actually know the organization?
Yeah, and first of all, I just want to thank you for having me as a guest. And as a newer member of the Woodinville Chamber, I've already been able to see what a great group of people are brought together through this, and also the opportunities to support each other. So I'm thrilled to be part of this group, so thank you. So yeah, I think, my background, moved here a couple of years ago and started mentoring a student at Eastside Academy, which is how I found out about the position that I'm now in. And basically, we are an alternative high school for at-risk youth. So we serve teens that come from a variety of different experiences. It can be trauma, abuse, addiction, homelessness, or learning challenges that they've experienced through the traditional environment. So oftentimes, we're their last option to get education and treatment for some of the things they've been exposed to. So currently we have a campus in Bellevue and in Redmond. And what's really important about our program is that a lot of the kids that we serve get lost in the cracks of our community. So, these kids may fail in the public school system, and then they end up on the streets or homeless or committing crimes or in the court systems or hospitals. So our program is really important because we provide them with another option, and often it's their last option. And another unique thing about us is, although we only have campuses in Redmond and Bellevue, we actually serve students from 9 different school districts in the Puget Sound area. So that further supports that we are sometimes their only option if kids are commuting an hour one way just to come to our school.
Yeah, and I actually took some time to go on the site and watched a couple of videos. One was on April's story, and the other one on Kevin's story. It's really moving to see that, these kids were pretty much at a dead end. I mean, the life they were living was not going to lead anywhere good, at least. But having a unique solution like this is really awesome, and I honestly believe in it at a deep level, because even though I'm in coaching, um, one of the main reasons why I got into coaching was because there were so many life skills that are not being taught in schooling, right? In the standard schooling, even. So, aside from having issues with personal life, even people that have a normal personal life, there are so many things that are missing when it comes to life skills, taking care of the personal things, the knowing, the self-awareness part, right? In the standard public schooling system, which really pushed me into educating myself outside of the school and getting so involved to the point where I'm coaching these principals now. So I truly believe in it.
Yeah, the transformation is amazing. And I think, what you said about that can get lost in public schools, because a lot of the kids that come to us, they love that we have a small business model, which is 50 kids maximum per campus. And with that model, not only do the kids have one-on-one attention, one-on-one support with learning, but they actually build relationships with the staff and the teachers, which they didn't get in public schools. And with those relationships, they learn to trust, they learn to communicate, open up. And I feel like they're learning so much more by not getting lost in a sea of kids in a public school. And also the mentor program. They have strong relationships and life skills that they learn through their one-on-one relationships with mentors.
So, Amy, tell us, you mentioned in the beginning that you got involved because you were mentoring someone, right? You were,
Yeah.
yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that.
That was interesting. I actually remember the first day I was to meet her at school for lunch, and I had all of these questions in my mind of what I was going to ask her and talk to her about, because I didn't want it to be uncomfortable. And we sat down, and she immediately just said, hey, can I tell you my story, or what's kind of going on this week? And she just talked for 45 minutes, which was incredible, because she was completely open about her background and how she ended up at EA. And I think in the end, she just wanted someone to listen that was kind of a safe person. I wasn't a parent or a teacher, or an authority figure. So we built a great relationship. And I actually think that I learned more from her than I ever could have taught her. So it was an incredible experience, and I highly recommend it. And it was completely outside of my comfort zone. It was not part of any volunteer work I'd ever done before. So really, really great.
That's pretty awesome. So, what are some of the things that you want people to know about Eastside Academy? It is a nonprofit organization. Obviously, as the bloodline is based on fundraising and donations and awareness. So, what are some of the things that you want the local community to know?
Well, I think one thing that some people in the community may not know is that we are very unique because we have a holistic approach of how we treat our students. So in addition to receiving an education that's recognized by Washington State, we also have mental health counseling, addiction recovery, alumni support, the mentor program that I mentioned, and we even have housing at our Bellevue campus for those kids that need it, that maybe in an unstable or unsafe environment at home. They have the option to live a block from their campus here. So I think our approach is really unique, that we have all of these great services to provide under one roof, which is their school. So that's really what makes us unique. The other thing that's probably good for the community to know is the budget shortfall that we have this year. We really are in a situation that's unfortunate, but we had a huge increase in our budget over the last year. That included things from our housing program being up and running, the opening of our Redmond campus, which was also something that's relatively new. And then we also made the decision to increase all of our teachers' salaries last year. Their salaries were well below the average in Washington State, and we were seeing turnover. And as I mentioned, with those relationships that the staff and students have, those are really important. And when we lose those teachers and staff members, it does impact the kids. And we also want to honor our staff too, and appreciate all the hard work that they do. So we did make the decision to increase salaries last year. And so all of that kind of hit our budget in full this year. So we do have a shortfall and a gap of about $250,000 this fiscal year. So we are looking at the possibility of having to close our Redmond campus, which is devastating to the community we serve, because teachers are going to lose their jobs, and there will be students that we will be unable to serve because of location and whatever. So I think it's important our community know that, because these are kids that are the future of our community and they're in our backyards. And I think it's important for people to know what's going on, and that these are lives that we can completely transform and change.
Yeah, thank you for the transparency there, Amy. I don't think it's could be said lightly. You guys are doing. You could definitely claim that you're changing lives in what you're doing. So, okay, well, what's a call to action here? What can people do to support you guys, or even find out a little bit more?
Yeah, I think, it's really, I think awareness is great too. We have a lot of opportunities for people to come into the school to learn about us. We have luncheons monthly, but really just get involved. I mean, I love to sit down with people in the community and have a cup of coffee and just talk about our program and the different ways to get involved at a volunteer level. A lot of people don't even realize our housing, what an expensive line item in our budget that is, because feeding teenage kids is all year round. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah, I remember as a teenager, I used to eat so much that my dad thought I had like worms in my stomach, because like you don't stop eating.
Yeah, it's incredible. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved with the housing or mentor program. And then really the financial support. I mean, we're looking really at having individuals and companies partner with us and invest in us and help us not close one of our campuses, and then also help us grow to the potential that we know we have 5-10 years down the road, and which involves expansion eventually. There's a lot of different areas of this city that need schools like ours, even at a younger level. So I think emailing me or calling me to have a cup of coffee and learn more is great, and then financial support is really where we're at right now, desperately, so we don't have to close our doors to these kids.
Yeah, and so that, thank you for mentioning that. When we upload this video into YouTube, what we'll do is in the comments section, we're gonna put the website URL, and if you'd like us, we can also put your email address for people to reach out.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Absolutely, no problem. And we'll take this offline, but I'm definitely signing up for the mentorship program.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, so now we move on to our next awesome guest, Brandon. Brandon, here we go. Brandon is on it. How are you, sir?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you for jumping on board to do this webinar with us.
Mm-hmm.
So let me introduce you to people. Brandon is a longtime Pacific Northwest native, growing up just outside of Seattle, while quickly becoming the "how can I make this work" person. His first major technology projects were in financial services, where he deployed automated technology and process solutions for accredited home loans that reduced the time to evaluate deals by over 75%. That's a huge change. Leveraging this experience, he then developed a multi-tenant pipeline solution that enabled over 400 salespeople to close more than 1.3 billion in financial products per year, resulting in several Inc. 500 and Puget Sound Business Journal awards for business growth. Those are some pretty crazy numbers, Brandon.
Sounds interesting when you read it out loud. I haven't revisited that for a while. I'll have to update that.
Do you have some new numbers? Well, it's awesome. I mean, it shows that you're a problem solver. Finding more efficient ways to provide value, which is awesome.
Yeah, we do our best.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're obviously a CEO of Audion. Tell us about Audion. Tell us about yourself, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Yeah, well, you hit the business highlights, I suppose. There, we started Audion in 2013, end of 2013, and our whole goal was to get into the telecommunications space. I'd had a lot of history in the finance world, and I was pretty sick of it at the time. And as an entrepreneur, I wanted to get back into what I was kind of passionate about. And if I was going to do something technology, some people like things, I like technology. And so I decided to do this. So it's a lot of fun. We now we've got phones all over the country that we're supporting. We have some great clients that we love, Salvation Army and some of the other large ones. They're doing some great work. And we just have a lot of fun with it. We're based out of Kirkland, just south of you. I live in Bothell, so I'm kind of working on surrounding Woodinville apparently here. So we have a lot of fun.
That's awesome. This is the weirdest thing, Brandon. I started seeing the Audion sign from the highway, off of 405,
Yep.
literally as of last week.
Yes. Yeah.
I never seen it before.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute, that's odd. Is that the Audion that belongs to Brandon? Yep. It was so interesting.
That sign, we didn't think we want to put up a sign when we moved here, but it took us about a year to do it because we had other things going on, starting company and whatnot, keep you busy. And as soon as we put it up, we started to get calls, and we got calls from, we got a fairly large company in this area gave us a call and said, hey, I see that you guys do phone service. We're interested. We love working with local companies. Come talk to us. And I was talking to the guy when I went to meet him, and they're asking, I was asking them, how did you hear about us? Where did you? I was just driving by and I saw your sign and it sounded interesting, so I looked you guys up, and I had no idea that anybody would have seen our sign and just looked us up out of curiosity. Hopefully he wasn't doing it while he's driving, but hopefully
probably did.
probably. But yeah, no, that sign has been a great thing. If you're you're a small company looking to start anywhere, and you can do it by a freeway that allows you to put a sign up as part of your rent. Highly recommend it. Pro tip number 1 there.
Boom, done. Put a sign that's visible from the highway.
Yeah.
Now,
anything else.
If you think about it, that's what McDonald's does all the time. Anywhere you go is this really high highway sign that you can see from a mile away, where McDonald's is.
You got it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry for kind of diverting, but it was just really interesting when I started seeing it. So, tell us about your journey. How old is the company?
So it started end of 2013. We moved into our location here and really kicked things off May of 2014. So as of now, I guess it's
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
4 years, boom. Happy anniversary. And so tell us about Audion. What does it do? What does it specialize in?
Yeah, so our goal is to revolutionize the telecommunications industry, where we think of ourselves as a software-based company working in telecommunications. So telecommunications industry traditionally has been one of a lot of moving parts. You've got wires in the ground, you've got big equipment that is hanging in the back of every server closet somewhere, and you've got hopefully somebody in your company that might remember how to log into it and change it and do whatever it is they need to do. And so when we got started, we saw the opportunity there to get in. So our software is hosted, in the cloud. I hate saying in the cloud, but basically servers somewhere else, right? And everything that you do can be done through the software where you log into our portal. So if you want to update I've got a phone sitting next to me here. If I wanted to hire a new CEO and go, enjoy the sunshine, I would log into our portal online and I would change all the names here and hit a button. The phone would reboot and everything's done. You don't need any sort of software hardware that's sitting in our office to do that.
I see.
And so, without getting too boring, that's what we do. So we're just enabling communications within companies.
So it's bringing that comfort of self-serve, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. When we first got started, we wanted to be the customer service company. My family all worked at Nordstrom's. My first job at 14 was at Nordstrom's, running shoe boxes around and whatnot. And so I kind of was brought up in that industry, and I hated the telecommunications industry where it was so bad in terms of customer service. One of the first surveys that we did early on, about a year in, was, hey, what do you think? What do you like? What do you not like? And the overwhelming response we got was, we love you guys. We call, you answer the phone within 30 seconds. You get everything done. But, I'm an IT guy. I know how to do this stuff, kind of. If I'm sitting there with a glass of wine, at 4 a.m, and I want to change my phone system around because I've got a wild hair, I want to be able to do that. So we set about really building out this phone system so that you can do it yourself. And really that's worked out well. I think in general, the, instant gratification, whatever you want to call it, we've seen this really big push for companies. They like to be able to reach you quickly, but for the most part, they want to do it themselves. They want to figure it out themselves. Their IT company, wants to be able to figure it out themselves, but you have to make it easy. And so that's what we've done.
Got it. So you're basically targeting people that are independent, that want to do it themselves, but if they need you, they want you to be available immediately. Got it.
So one of the things we focus on, what we call telecompetence, we made up. And actually, I love it. But what we mean by that is we're adding the competence piece to the telecommunications industry. So when you call us up, you're not going to get somebody that is just taking down notes of what you're trying to do, and they're going to pass that on to somebody else who's going to tell you to restart your phone. We do a lot of training, and we do a lot of work trying to make sure that our I don't even like to call them first level support. Our support team can help you out that first time that you call, get you where they need. Another example would be when we do onboarding of a new client, we don't ask questions like, we do, but they're not the primary questions of how many phones do you need? Where do you need them to sit? We're asking questions like, what does your business do? Who is calling you? What are they looking for when they call you? Are they calling for sales? Are they calling for customer support? What's the most important part of your business to really look at? Where do you have pain points? Do you have a bunch of Yelp reviews that say you never answer the phone, you can never get through? Let's look at fixing that. And then we'll make recommendations in a consultative way to the client to try to help use our system and help them out. And, probably most of the time we're talking to a client, we don't even go into 90% of the things the phone system can do. We're just going to leave that out. So we've branded that what we call telecompetence. And then if you do need help, one thing that we do that people seem to like is we've borrowed from the cell phone industry, and we program all of our phones so that when you dial 611, you just get right to somebody that can help you. To remember the phone number.
Very nice.
Look it up. You just dial 611 from the phone. You can tell that it's you calling, and we'll help you out.
Beautiful. So let's shift gears here, Brandon. You've got this great company. You were there from day one, correct?
Yep.
It's now 4 years in. You're doing well over $1 million in revenue, right? Obviously, you and I know for new businesses, most of them don't make it past year one, and even actually year 5, because it's really not easy. You've got to have kind of all the gears in place to make that happen, to survive, to thrive. So you've made that happen, and this is honestly why you're here and we're interviewing you, because we want to hear from you. What do you feel are the things that you came into the business? What kind of mindset did you come into the business with that has enabled you to face the whatever challenges you had to face and overcome them, and keep pivoting, keep changing, keep growing despite all the challenges, right? What comes to mind for you?
Well, gosh, that's I hate to answer in the kind of the cliche way here, but I think probably the biggest thing was I'm just stubborn, and I don't like to give up. And it's probably cliche because it's true. I think most small, medium, large business owners are that same way, where we just believe in what we're doing. We believe that we can do it, believe in ourselves, and we just keep going long past when we probably should have given up. So, there's that. And I think I was fortunate. I've got a great business partner, and surrounded myself with people that do the things that I don't do well, which there are many things that I don't do well. And so that was key for me, was understanding. I think that took, some people figure that out sooner than others. It took me, years to figure out what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And, surrounding me with people that can help was great. So it allows me to really focus on the things that help us to grow. And, as starting out as a small business, you're pulled in so many different directions that sometimes it's hard to, there's the old saying of, working in the business versus working on the business. It's so common in the beginning to just be firefighting all day. So really tried to focus on, taking a lot of my day out and trying to really look at the direction of where we're going. What are we doing? What are the big picture items that I can work on, rather than, fighting fires.
So let me kind of recap that, because that was pretty good, and there's a lot of meat in there. If we narrow that down to 3 pointers, right? The first point was just be stubborn, keep going, right? Have the belief in yourself that what you've got is worth it, and just follow what you believe in, right? And that's really persistence, right? Never give up, just keep going. And yes, it sounds cliche, but a lot of times when we look at our results, we start doubting and we think, hey, maybe this is really not going to work out. And ironically, after every breakdown, there's a breakthrough. So that's what I've learned. And if you hang around long enough, you will see the breakthrough. So that's one point. That's great. Second point you mentioned was surround yourself with people that are good at what you're not good at. That is one of the strongest ones, I think, that makes a huge difference, because as a small business owner, you're the one-person band trying to do everything: sales, marketing, operations, cleaning the office, and everything in between. So if you don't mind, before we move on from this point, let's talk a little bit about that specifically. You said it took you years to kind of really find out what you're good at and how to leverage other people. But now that you've learned all that over the years, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do?
Oh man, if I had to start over not knowing what I was good at?
So you've gained a lot of experience as to like figuring out what you're good at, how to surround yourself with people that can complement you, basically. Knowing all this, if you were to start this all over again, what would be your approach? Because obviously you learned a lot from the experience. It wouldn't take you years to do it.
Sure. Yeah, find people that are so. Business partner, obviously, number one. Make sure that in a business partner, you've got somebody that wants to work as hard as you can, that is aligned with your goals of the business, which sounds like a no-brainer thing, but I think you see that a lot, and I've dealt with that a lot in previous businesses where I want to take the business one place. I want to grow. I want to, go into these markets. I want to get to a certain level. And I just assume that a business partner is going to want to do that same thing. But that other business partner might be a lifestyle business where they're interested more in, hey, I want to have a business that grows, but really I just, I want to be able to ski in the winters and go out on a boat in the summer. And that's what I thought, owning a business was about. So make sure that you've found somebody that you align with well there and that you get along with well. I mean, you're going to see this person more than you see your significant other. Let's be honest, probably a lot more. when you're starting a business. So you want to have a good relationship there. Other things, making sure that you've got a great, legal and accounting team. Two big things that we've made mistakes with in the past. 10 years ago when I started a business, just thinking, I'll just go find legal documents that I need online and modify themselves. Can't be that hard, right? There's a lot of nuance there, and making sure that you've got everything set up correctly so that when you want to grow, or if one person it's not working out, you can make changes. Accounting, same thing. Made the mistake when I was 10 years ago that I can do the accounting, and I probably spent 2-3 hours a day dealing with payroll and accounting and all these things, when I could have just gone out and found somebody that is much better than I am to do that for me. And then when it comes to employees, just don't compromise, don't sacrifice on finding and hiring good employees. Many books on that. I don't claim to be any expert because I've only learned from mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So, you mentioned that when you're looking at accounting or legal services, go get someone good. And I actually have heard that multiple times from other investors because they would look at all these startups and they see that the founders trying to stretch and do all these other things, and they get a lot of it wrong. So and if I put myself in those people's shoes, what they're probably debating is, well, yes, they're much better than I am, but that's going to cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So what do you say to kind of address that concern, where there isn't really a lot of cash flow in the beginning?
Yeah. Well, what I would say is you'd be surprised. So one thing that lawyers, for example, we learned early on was that you need to know what you want, and having a good legal representation doesn't mean going to the biggest law firm that you can find. One of the things that we did is we interviewed several attorneys, and luckily through a group similar to this, we found a really good one in this area. And what we had learned with lawyers is go to them with a project and a scope of what you want, just like you would go to a general contractor.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go to a contractor and say, hey, I want to build a house. I think I want it to be square-ish, maybe 5,000 square feet, and I'll just pay you time and materials to build it. It's going to be a very expensive house. What you want to do is you want to come to, switching back to the lawyer, you want to come to the lawyer and say, hey, listen, I'm starting a new business. I want to start my business up. Make a list of all the things that you're concerned about. I've got a business partner. I'm concerned about this. I've got, this business has this certain risk. For us, telecommunications, maybe it's 911. So I've got this certain risk, and I want to make sure that we mitigate that. What would be a realistic price that you could put something like this together for me? And then we've saved thousands of dollars by doing that with lawyers. You come to them with a clear scope of what you want. I want this document to be drafted up. Give me a price, negotiate on that price, get that price up front. And then that way, if they go 100 hours over on the budget, you've already mitigated that risk.
That's awesome. I love that. And it honestly comes back and ties it back to what I do, which is helping people get clarity of the outcome, the desired outcome. And that's kind of what you're doing. You're painting the picture of, okay, what do we actually want? Let's get clear on the outcome first. And then it's much easier to see who's going to basically able to deliver this based on clear communication. Like, it's all laid out. You don't have to guess what I want. I don't have to guess what you're going to deliver. This is a common, and it goes back to what you mentioned about business partnership, right? It's expectation of how much they're going to put into the business versus how much you think they will. And having an agreement instead explicitly communicated, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So cool. Okay, so we've got keep on going, and then surround yourself with people that are good at what you're not good at. And then the third one was focus on what your mission is, what you gotta do, and because there are a lot of distractions. And this is also a very strong one. Honestly, I feel like I'm in a battle every day. Seriously, from the minute I wake up, the phone is the first battle. It's text messages and pings and emails, and I always obviously now that I'm in this space, I'm consciously reminding myself, okay, well, what's the priority? Is it other people's agenda, or is it my priority? What do I need to get done today? So again, you've whatever you've done over the past 4 years has worked really well. So can you share some of the things that you do to kind of fight the distractions on a daily basis to stay focused?
Yeah, well, I can certainly try. Yeah. So I like to have, so one thing I've done for a long time to fight my kind of nature of, bouncing around. I think it's pretty common with entrepreneurs. You're dealing with a lot of stuff. So just a stupid thing that I do is my email is my to-do list. And if there's anything that I need to get done, it sits in my inbox. And that's basically how I understand where I'm at in life. If I have 75 emails sitting in there, then I'm way behind. If I've got 5 sitting in there, then, hey, great, let's do a webinar, no problem. And so it's just kind of something stupid. Everybody does a little different, but the important part is just having a system of keeping track. So for some people that would be a list, to-do app. There's a bunch of different ways to do it.
Having something physical where you're tracking your to-do.
Yeah, just so if I get pulled into 3 meetings and I'm trying to figure out where what I need to do, how do I need to get my focus back? I have a single place that I can go and I can see what's going on, and then training other people to use that. So if somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, can you do this?" or somebody sends me a text message or a Slack message or there's so many different ways of communicating now. I can say, okay, this needs to go in this specific place, calendar, Outlook, inbox. That's where I need to have everything stored. So that's been helpful. And then the other thing, as we switched from a business where I'm doing the majority of things, or I'm doing a lot of things, to, you've got those people around you. My goal at the end of every day is not my plate, but their plates. And so what I'm trying to do is make sure that, if I get to the end of the day and I've got 4 people that don't have anything to do that are sitting around, my goal is to fill their plate with things to do. Upwork is a tremendous resource for entrepreneurs if they're starting out. For example, you can get anything and everything done on Upwork, and so we use that for marketing. We use that for sales pieces. And so with that, again, trying to make sure that I'm delegating as much of that as possible.
Very cool. All right. Brandon, what's one of your favorite books? A book that has made a fundamental impact on you?
Well, I'm not much. I know this is sacrilege, but I'm not much of a
reader.
Well, I love reading, but I don't necessarily enjoy reading sales books. So many friends, they can quote every line from every sales book from every terrible at this. But I did read. The 1 Minute Manager was a book that I read a long time ago, and still pick up from time to time. And I really enjoy. And then the other book, it's not even a book. A Message to Garcia is, if you've seen that, I think it was a Harvard Business Review article. Really, it's just a quick read. And I typically like to give that to anybody that starts new here. With our size, of an office, it's so easy to want to engage other people. And A Message to Garcia, the whole purpose of that book is, figure out what you need to get done and be a self-starter and figure out and know what you need to get done. So I love that book. I love reading that, and I love giving our people that book to read.
Beautiful. Actually, I have not heard of that one, but I have heard of the 1 Minute Manager. It's
Yeah.
by Ken Blanchard, right?
See, now you're
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
sitting over
he.
here to my left. I can't quite see it, but yeah,
It's
I
okay.
think
It's
that does
okay.
sound right.
It's okay. Just so that people could grab it from Amazon if they want to. Cool. So one other thing I love asking people is, what's your morning routine like? So you wake up, you know,
Yeah.
there are a few things that you do every day, right? And what's your routine like?
Well, so I've got 3 kids. I've got a 4-week-old, a
Oh my goodness.
18-month-old, and a 5-year-old. So depending on when I wake up, it's usually because I've got somebody jumping on top of me at the morning, thinking that it's time to get up. But normally, my morning routine is wake up. First thing I like to do is just do a quick pass through my email. Just make sure that there's nothing urgent that I need to take care of that came up overnight. Look at my calendar, make sure that I'm not supposed to be somewhere in 10 minutes. Doesn't normally happen, but and then the last thing I like to do is I like to read through the New York Times has a daily briefing that they send out, which is great. It's a single email, covers the top 30 news stories or so of the day, and kind of just lets me keep a pulse on what's going on. Because as soon as I walk in, to work, I'm totally focused on that, and I don't have time to do anything. So that's basically it. Wake up, read through, figure out what's going on in the world, and get into the office and start to work.
Awesome. This is an interesting question, and hopefully you can feel comfortable answering it. What's your biggest fear?
Wow.
What keeps you up at night?
Gosh, I guess biggest fear would be of course failure. I think is the biggest fear. Or I think if I have nightmare, I think my worst nightmare would probably be having to walk back to Nordstrom's to sell whatever again. I don't know. I think that would be my worst fear.
Okay, well, that's very honest of you to say that, which is okay. I mean, honestly, Brandon, the reason why I asked that is because I want to show people that just because you're successful doesn't mean you don't have fears, and everyone has fears, but the difference is successful people like yourself will continue to take action and continue to focus on what they want. I'm sure it's not rosy all the time in your business, and there are some tough times, but and that fear really is louder and bigger and more occupying, but still, what are you doing to basically refocus to get back on track?
Yeah, so I just kind of compartmentalize that and just move on. I think it comes with the stubborn. I always joke around that, I think one of my better qualities, or my worst quality is I have a tendency to think that it's not that hard to do everything, and I can figure everything out. And one of my better qualities is that I normally am able to figure that out, but it gets me in a lot of trouble. And I think part of that is just being able to compartmentalize the doubt of what if I can't figure it out. I just believe that I can, and so I'll just keep moving forward with it. So when it comes to is it going to fail, or am I is this not going to work? Basically, of course, the first year of business is basically that, if you're lucky. And you just keep pushing through and keep moving forward, and put it in the back of your head and go in and do the things that need to be done, and have the belief you're going to be able to do it.
So is it more of, hey, it looks like a big piece of pie. I don't know how I'm going to chew this whole thing yet, but I just believe that I have enough faith in myself that I can take one bite, and I'm
Yeah.
clear. I'm clear on what that one bite is for now.
Yeah.
Let's just do that, and the rest will sort itself out.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just you got to take things one day at a time,
Yeah.
and you can only control the things that you can control. So my business partner, she's always like, how do you not get stressed out about this stuff? And it's like, if I can't control it, if it's something that's external to me that I can't control, I'm not going to let it bother me, because there's nothing I can do. I'm going to focus on what I can do to try to make things better.
That's awesome. That actually is a good point, and it ties into what you were mentioning is staying focused. And that's one way to filter is ask yourself a question of, can I control it? Is it in my hands, or is someone else in control? And if someone else is in control, you're basically saying, well, whatever happens, happens. Moving on. What can I do?
Right.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. I think there was I was reading one time of, basically habits that the top 2% performing professionals have, and it's chunking down something really big, a big project or a big mission, to the ridiculous, reducing it to the ridiculous. And it's also kind of, I think, in the sales world as well, bringing it down to the smallest piece so that when you look at it, you're not overwhelmed and you say to yourself, well, of course I can do that.
Right.
And that's kind of a tactic that people could use as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So any final words you'd like to share with us, Brandon?
Oh, just, keep on keeping on. I don't have any final last words that I can think of. Nothing inspiring or good.
Well, it's, you're a local business, and if there are people that, you would like to invite to do business with, who would they be? Who's a good fit to do business with you?
Oh, gosh. So, we love working with companies of any size.
Okay.
Personally, I love working with, small to medium-sized businesses. And by that, I mean, 10 users, 10 employees, up to 100. Those are a lot of fun for us. A lot of times when you're working with the enterprise, it's very prescribed. I need this, I need this, I need this. But for the smaller businesses, I feel like we get to get in and we get to make recommendations. We get to, really kind of more of a consultation with them. And so we like that. We've been there before. So
that's awesome.
Anywhere in that size. Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully we will talk more, but I appreciate your time and for being on this webinar.
Likewise. It was great to hear everybody.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.